Hello there! Today we will be reacting to the Dutch education system. This is gonna be very cool and interesting. I want to react to more Dutch music, especially the Dutch festivals, Dutch comedy, because I'm laughing my ass off lately with those kind of videos, the stand-up comedy and the funny advertisements. So yeah, today I want to do something more relaxed. I want to learn more about the Dutch culture. So I figured the education system could be a nice way to begin doing so. Let's go.
If you happen to have watched the college storytime video I made a couple months ago, you'll probably recall me briefly explaining the Dutch education system and how it differs from the American one. I got a couple comments
And of course, I'm gonna tell you how it differs from the Italian one.
saying people
That's what I'm
would be
here for.
interested in seeing a video explaining this system more thoroughly. So without further ado, here's my take on explaining the Dutch education system. I'll go through the entire system step by step in chronological order, so from kindergarten to university. The very first or pre-phase of education over here is called peuterspeelzaal, which roughly translates to toddler playroom. I know, sounds a bit silly, and is pretty much the Dutch equivalent of nursery school. Children ages 0 to 3 can attend toddler playroom, however it isn't obligated to do so. And once the child turns 4, they'll have to enter the next stage of education. This being basisschool, roughly translated basic school, which I'd say is the Dutch equivalent of elementary school.
So wait, I think this is different because here, yeah, kindergarten or basic school, I think you start when you're 3 years old, if I'm not mistaken. When you're from 3 to 5 years old, and when you turn 6, you start elementary school.
Here, children will learn basic skills such as calculating, writing, reading, grammar, crafts, along with
4 years old.
skills such
Wait. Am I missing something?
This being basisschool, roughly translated basic school, which I'd say is the Dutch equivalent of elementary school. Here, children will learn basic skills such as calculating, writing, reading, grammar, crafts, along with a couple of other basic subjects. Basic school consists of a total of 8 grades. These grades over here are referred to as groups. For example, once you enter basic school, you'll be in group 1. The following year you'll enter group 2, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
One subject we're also taught, which I'm not sure Americans are, during group 6 and 7 is traffic, where you learn about the basic traffic rules.
What? I think they taught us that in was it in middle school? No. Actually, no. Nobody ever taught us that. They taught us like some... Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like this is very important, right? Because even if you are not driving a car or anything, you're still on a road, even just by walking. So you should still be able to recognize some of these. I don't know why they never taught us those. I mean, I remember when I was the first year of high school, I got the license to drive the motor, the smaller motor, the 50 cylinder. I don't know how to say it in English. Sorry. Yeah, so I learned all the things, so it was much easier when I get my driving license later on. But yeah, in school, I don't think I've ever learned that. That's crazy. You start from 4 to 5 years old to write and do all those kind of stuff. I mean, I guess 4 and 5 years old, you just learn about crafts, stuff like that. Maybe 6 years old, you start to learn about calculating some simple operations, writing. I don't know. Can you explain it better to me?
In the Netherlands, it's pretty common for kids to travel to school by bicycle, seeing how school buses aren't really a thing over here. That plus the villages often are only 15 to 30 minutes of cycling away due to the Netherlands' small size. So you can imagine what would happen if children were to just cycle along the road, oblivious to all traffic. Near the end of group 7, everyone is obligated to take a cycling exam where you have to cycle a certain route through town while paying attention to all kinds of traffic boards.
Bro, this is amazing. This is all unbelievable. Oh my god.
Once you pass the exam, you receive your long-awaited cycling diploma and immediately
What if you fail? What if you
all
fail?
rules you ever learned. High school students. Besides that, you're also obligated to take the CITO test near the end of Group 8. The result of this particular test, along with your overall performance during basic school, will determine what level of secondary education you'll be following. By this point, you'll be 12 years old. So this is where things might get a bit complicated. At age 12, you'll enter voortgezet onderwijs, roughly translated continued education, which is the Dutch equivalent to American middle and high school. The thing about continued education is that there's different difficulties of high school to choose from after leaving basic school. This is where the CITO test comes into play. Depending on the advice you were given in Group 8, you have several options. VWO, which is a rough acronym.
That is so cool. I always regretted that I quit high school because I went to a high school that I wasn't really feel challenged, and I really hated it, and then I felt like, whatever. I'm just gonna find my way in life. But I always regret to have not continued my education. And it was also the fault of the teachers that there was no such test. They would just judge by your whole persona and your grades. They wouldn't make you take a test or ask you what you want to do. They would just be like, oh, you should go to that school. You should go to that school. If you go to the other school, you will fail. It will just be like that. It's not really efficient. Like if you take the test and then you gotta talk through everything, yeah, much better. So much better. Yeah, whatever.
For preparing scientific education. This is the highest possible difficulty of continued education you can possibly follow, and will take a total of 6 years to complete. VWO prepares its students for WO, which is similar to American University and thus contains the largest amount of theory matter in terms of subjects. HAVO, a rough acronym for Higher General Continued Education. This is the second to highest possible difficulty you can follow and will take 5 years to complete. Whereas VWO often deeply delves into particular subject matter, HAVO tends to cover the more general side of things, plus VWO also tends to have stricter grading methods compared to HAVO. When attending this difficulty, you'll be prepared for something called HBO, the Dutch equivalent of American college. MAVO, roughly translated Secondary General Continued Education. MAVO will take you 4 years to complete and prepares you for MBO.
Wow, that's crazy.
In terms of difficulty, there's quite a gap between MAVO and HAVO, or at least that's what I've heard. VMBO, which is a rough acronym for Preparing Secondary Job Education, which comes in 4 different routes. Each of these routes takes 4 years to complete. These include VMBO-TL, the TL standing for Theoretic Education, which actually is just a different name for MAVO. However, due to the negative connotation VMBO tends to have over here, due to it being the lowest level of secondary education, they decided to change its name to MAVO. VMBO-GL, the GL standing for Mixed Education, which is pretty much equal to MAVO, except GL adds a job-specific subject, making GL a mix between practical and theoretic subjects. VMBO-KB, KB standing for Job Framework, which mainly focuses on practical subjects rather than theory-based ones.
Oh, that's the easiest.
Students here learn skills by doing rather than studying.
That's what I did, and I hated every moment of it.
VMBO-BB, BB standing for Job Basics, which is pretty similar to KB, except the amount of study load is a lot less.
Okay, maybe
Both
that's
KB
the one I did.
and BB are there to prepare students for handicraft and other sorts of craftsmanship. Practical education. Students who are unable to obtain a VMBO diploma but still wish to enter the job market can be enrolled in practical education. Last but not least, there's also a route called LWOO, which acronym roughly translates to Assisted Learning Education. This route is meant for VMBO students who either struggle a lot with basic subjects like calculation, grammar, reading comprehension, etc., or have severe social emotional problems. Alright, so that's all of them, I think. There probably are some more exceptions that I glanced over, but these ones mentioned are the major ones. I could go into detail how each route works, but I'd rather keep this video under 2 hours, so... Anyway, once you've completed
really
any of the previously mentioned routes, you most likely will enter a certain difficulty of college. This difficulty will of course be dependent on what difficulty you completed high school at. We'll start with MBO. As I mentioned earlier, MBO is a type of college you can attend after you've completed MAVO. MBO is categorized in 4 levels. MBO Level 1, Level 2, Level 3 and Level 4, and takes a total of 3 or 4 years to complete. With each level, the amount of independent work activity increases, meaning at Level 1 you're an assistant, while at Level 4 you're capable of performing specialized tasks. The minimum requirement to enter Levels 2 to 4 is that you either have a VMBO or MAVO diploma. You're only capable of progressing to the next tier of college-like education if you complete MBO Level 4. From here you have the option to progress to HBO or enter the job market with an MBO Level 4 diploma, which is somewhat equivalent to an American associate's degree. HBO can roughly be translated to higher job education, which is the follow-up to HAVO and takes 4 years to complete. Though of course graduated HAVO students also have the option to choose MBO if they wish so for. HBO together with WO form the university section of education in the Netherlands. The main difference between the two though is that HBO focuses more on understanding how things happen and applying acquired knowledge with more supervision, while WO is more focused on why things happen and is more research orientated with less supervision. Though in reality the amount of supervision within HBO is also pretty much non-existent. Watch my college video. Once students complete an HBO course, they'll earn an HBO bachelor degree. Afterwards they can choose to enter the work field or continue studying for an HBO master degree. As I mentioned, WO in contrast to HBO is more focused on the research aspect of subjects. WO can be roughly translated to scientific education and is the follow-up to VWO. Though of course VWO students can also enter HBO or MBO courses. After approximately 4 years, students will be rewarded with a WO bachelor degree. Afterwards they have the option to enter the job field or continue studying for a master's degree, which the majority, as far to my knowledge, tends to do. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the Dutch education system. There's quite a lot of details regarding grading and law-related stuff.
Yeah, at the end it was a little confusing.
These are pretty much the basic explanations of each department. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again.
Yeah, this puts it more into perspective, right, with the age and everything.
In my next video. Bye!
I do have one last question since it wasn't mentioned. What are the cost of the Dutch education? You know, that would be really interesting. And to me, it seems so much cooler than it is in Italy. Of course, I'm not an expert. I couldn't even do it if I want a video on explaining the Italian education system. This was very well done. So go and check out this channel, Unari. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. I shouldn't have tried. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. So I really enjoyed and I learned something new. Let me know more in the comments if you want to add something to what we watch in the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep on recommending me amazing videos to learn more about the Netherlands. And I'll see you very soon.